we would love to find original work. So there's all kinds of hopes here. We just have to learn as much as we can about this location.
If I told you that the world's biggest treasure might be just a few feet away, would you believe it? What if I said that for over 200 years, millions of people have been digging in the same place, but the real secret may never have been there at all? What would you think? And the biggest question of all, what has been discovered that has even forced scientists and experts to believe that the mystery of Oak Island could finally be solved forever? Friends, for more than 200 years, Oak Island has been considered one of the world's greatest mysteries. Over $300 million has been spent trying to solve it. Countless excavations have taken place, and many teams have returned empty-handed. But what has come to light in 2026 could change the entire story. This time, evidence has been found beneath the ground that has left even experts completely surprised. Some believe this could be the discovery the world has been waiting for over the last 2 centuries, while others say something even bigger than treasure may be hidden behind it, something that could change the course of history. But the real question still remains. Is there really a $220 million treasure hidden there? Is it just a single chamber, or the entrance to the mysterious network of tunnels that people have talked about for years? And the most shocking part, if all of this turns out to be true, will the world finally get to see the real truth behind Oak Island for the very first time? You will get the answers to all of these questions, one by one, in this video. So don't leave the video halfway through, because the final few minutes will reveal what truly decides whether the mystery of Oak Island is about treasure, history, or something no one has ever imagined. Before we move further into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can watch videos like this first. The island remains the same, the legend remains the same, but this time the story has taken a completely different direction. For nearly 200 years, explorers have been searching for the secrets hidden beneath Oak Island. Countless expeditions have come and gone, numerous shafts have collapsed, and more than $300 million has been invested in the search. Every discovery brought a new wave of hope, while every failure made the mystery even more difficult to solve. Then, in 2026, something happened that changed the entire course of the investigation. It started as a normal workday. The team was conducting a routine survey with their advanced scanning technology, but the moment the latest ground-penetrating radar and resistivity results appeared on the screens, everyone went quiet. For a few moments, no one could explain what they were seeing. The data didn't match anything they had encountered before. Around 95 to 110 feet below the surface, a clear pattern began to appear. It wasn't a random hollow space or a natural formation. Instead, it looked organized, almost like a hidden chamber had been waiting underground for centuries. At first, the team believed there might have been a technical issue. Mistakes can happen, especially when scanning beneath Oak Island's challenging landscape. But when additional scans showed the exact same results, the uncertainty faded. This was something real. The excitement that had driven Lagina for years suddenly returned, and his determination was clear. Even Marty Lagina, who usually relies on careful calculations and measured decisions, acknowledged that if the scans were accurate, they could represent the most significant discovery in Oak Island's history. But the biggest surprise was still ahead. The anomaly was not located directly beneath the area where generations of explorers had focused their efforts. Instead, it appeared to be slightly outside the traditional search zone. It was an overlooked section of the island that had received very little attention over the years. That one detail changed the entire picture. It suggested that nearly 2 centuries of searching may not have been unsuccessful. They may have simply been searching in the wrong location and missing one important piece of a much larger mystery. To understand why this discovery matters so much, we need to return to the beginning of the Oak Island legend. Around 1795, a group of young men reportedly discovered a strange depression in the ground beneath a group of oak trees. Unusual signs around the area created curiosity, and soon rumors began spreading that something valuable had been intentionally hidden underground. That location eventually became known as the Money Pit. According to early reports, excavators found layers of wooden platforms placed about every 10 feet, mysterious markings, and signs that convinced many people someone had deliberately buried something important deep beneath the surface. Whether every detail of those stories was completely accurate or not, they sparked a search that has continued for generations. Throughout the 19th century and into modern times, companies, investors, engineers, and treasure hunters all arrived on Oak Island, believing they were the ones who would finally solve its greatest mystery. Every generation felt the answer was within reach, but time after time, the same pattern repeated. Shafts collapsed unexpectedly. Underground water flooded excavation sites. The theory of complex flood tunnels became stronger, while millions of dollars were lost in unsuccessful attempts. Over the decades, estimates suggest that earlier search efforts alone consumed well over $100 million. In the modern era, with advanced technology, sophisticated equipment, and massive operations, the total investment in the search has grown beyond $300 million. But Oak Island has never been just about the money. For many, it has become a lifelong passion, a mystery worth spending decades trying to solve. Rick Lagina represents that determination. As a young boy, Rick discovered the Oak Island mystery through a magazine article. That early curiosity never disappeared. Instead, it grew into a mission that would shape much of his life. For most of Oak Island's history, however, the search process was surprisingly basic. Dig another shaft, go deeper, and hope for a breakthrough. The biggest problem was that no one truly knew what existed beneath the surface. Every excavation was a costly risk. Sometimes tunnels collapsed without warning. Other times, flooding destroyed years of effort. Again and again, millions of dollars disappeared underground without providing clear answers. But 2026 brought a completely different approach. Instead of digging first and trying to understand later, Rick and Marty focused on studying the underground environment before making any major excavation. Advanced technology became the foundation of the search. Ground-penetrating radar revealed detailed layers beneath the surface. Seismic scanning helped identify differences between solid rock formations and possible empty spaces. Resistivity mapping showed areas where underground materials were significantly different from the surrounding soil. By combining all three technologies, researchers created the most detailed three-dimensional model of Oak Island ever developed. Compared with earlier surveys, this new mapping provided around 30% to 40% more clarity. For the first time, the team wasn't depending only on instinct or past theories. Random digging was replaced with targeted exploration. Guesswork was replaced with measurable evidence. Every move could now be guided by data, rather than hope alone. And that technology revealed something no previous expedition had identified with the same level of confidence. An underground signal that didn't appear to be a natural formation. This discovery became a major turning point. Oak Island's future was no longer based only on luck. It was now driven by science, accuracy, and advanced imaging technology. The biggest breakthrough of Oak Island 2026 began when the new surveys detected an anomaly unlike anything recorded before. The unusual signal appeared clearly between 95 and 110 feet below the surface. Within that specific depth range, the readings changed dramatically. At first, the team considered whether the anomaly might simply be another natural geological feature. Oak Island's underground environment is extremely complex, with layers of different materials, traces of previous excavations, and constant groundwater movement creating challenges. However, deeper analysis revealed a much more unusual picture. Resistivity scans showed a difference of approximately 30% to 40% compared with the surrounding ground. This suggested that the material in that area behaved very differently from the natural soil nearby. Then came what may have been the most fascinating result yet. Density readings revealed values 4 to 5 times higher than those found in the surrounding areas. This was highly unusual. If the feature was simply an empty underground cavity, experts would normally expect lower density measurements. Instead, the data suggested the presence of something much denser, more solid, and possibly more organized beneath the surface. As engineers compared all the available information, GPR images, seismic data, resistivity results, and density measurements, a clear pattern began to emerge. This didn't appear to be just another random underground formation. The combined evidence pointed toward a specific area with characteristics that looked structured rather than naturally created. The more the team studied the scans, the less the anomaly looked like a simple underground void. Instead, it seemed to have a recognizable shape with defined boundaries, almost like a hidden space that had been deliberately created. Inside the control room, the reactions were immediate. Everyone understood this was not just another unusual reading. For the first time in the history of the Oak Island search, the evidence appeared truly convincing. Rick finally broke the silence, suggesting that this could be the discovery they had spent years searching for. As experts continued analyzing the mysterious area between 95 and 110 feet below the surface, one major question remained at the center of the discussion. Was this a natural formation, or was it something intentionally constructed? The new 3D imaging revealed a feature approximately 20 to 25 feet wide, but its size was not what attracted the most attention. It was the shape. Natural underground spaces usually form unevenly, with irregular edges caused by erosion, shifting soil, and geological changes over time. This anomaly appeared different. Its boundaries looked unusually straight and precise, creating the impression that the space may have been intentionally designed rather than naturally formed. The investigation continued further. Researchers analyzed the surrounding soil layers and discovered areas of tightly packed clay that showed an unusual level of consistency. The pattern did not match the random formations normally created by natural geological activity. They also found unusual stone arrangements. Instead of scattered rocks, some sections appeared to contain stones placed closely together, almost as if they had been positioned to strengthen, cover, or protect an underground structure. One consulting geologist made a remarkable observation. If these readings are accurate, we're not looking at a normal cavity. We could be looking at an engineered chamber. However, not everyone agreed. Some specialists argued that Oak Island's underground environment has been heavily altered over the last 2 centuries. Countless excavations, flooding events, collapsing shafts, and changing groundwater conditions could create patterns that appear artificial, but are actually the result of natural disruption. According to this viewpoint, the anomaly could simply be a rare geological formation shaped by years of disturbance beneath the island. The debate quickly split experts into 2 groups. One side believed the evidence suggested a carefully constructed underground chamber. The other maintained that it could still be an unusual but completely natural feature. Rick Lagina has faced skepticism throughout his entire Oak Island journey, so disagreements among experts were nothing new. But this time, something was different: the strength of the evidence. The data supporting this discovery was more convincing than anything the team had gathered before. Then came another surprising revelation. When researchers compared the exact location of the anomaly with historical excavation maps, they discovered something unexpected. The signal was not directly beneath the famous money pit. Instead, it appeared to be around 35 to 40 meters away, in an area that had never received the same level of intense excavation. That single detail introduced a remarkable possibility. For almost 200 years, generations of treasure hunters may have been searching in the wrong location. For decades, the leading theory was that the money pit was the main entrance, with hidden tunnels eventually connecting to a secret chamber somewhere deeper underground. Nearly every major excavation and large investment was based on that belief. But the 2026 survey challenged that idea for the first time. What if everyone had been focused on the wrong spot? As Rick examined the updated map showing both the traditional money pit location and the newly discovered anomaly, a different possibility began to emerge. It almost appeared as though the island had been arranged to draw attention toward one area while keeping the real secret hidden somewhere else. Some researchers referred to this idea as the misdirection theory. According to this theory, whoever created the underground system may have intentionally left behind false clues, confusing tunnels, and misleading features designed to keep future explorers away from the true location. Marty summarized the situation with a simple thought. If this chamber really exists, then perhaps 200 years of searching were directed toward the wrong target. That realization completely changed the mystery. The biggest question was no longer only about what might be buried underground. The mystery had become much bigger. Who created such a complex underground system? And why would someone go to such extreme lengths to hide it? Naturally, attention soon turned to another major question. If this hidden chamber truly exists, how valuable could it be? Treasure has always been at the heart of the Oak Island legend. But now, for the first time, researchers attempted to estimate its potential value using scientific analysis instead of pure speculation. Rather than making unrealistic guesses, the team relied on density modeling and technical measurements. Based on the strength of the signals, specialists estimated how much metallic material could potentially exist within the identified area. The density readings recorded between 95 and 110 feet were approximately 4 to 5 times higher than what would normally be expected from ordinary soil or nearby rock formations. Signals of this strength are usually linked with concentrated metallic materials rather than natural underground features. Researchers compared the readings with information from historic gold-producing regions, including areas such as the Klondike and other famous placer mining locations. A signal this powerful at such depth is considered extremely unusual. Experts explained that if these measurements truly represent buried material, the anomaly could contain a significant concentration of valuable metal. Using careful estimates, assuming the chamber is only partly filled and recovery would not be perfect, the possible value was calculated to be between $180 million and $220 million. However, in a more optimistic scenario, where the chamber is densely filled and the signals truly represent a large concentration of metal, the estimated value could rise beyond $250 million. That possibility completely changed the scale of the discussion. Never before in Oak Island's long history had a potential discovery been connected to numbers this massive. For the first time, the scientific evidence itself suggested that something truly remarkable could be hidden beneath the island. Marty recognized the importance of the discovery, but remained careful. Even if the estimates were only 50% accurate, he admitted this could become the most valuable find ever uncovered on Oak Island. Rick, however, looked at the discovery from a different perspective. For him, the potential value was never the main focus. What mattered most was the possibility that a mystery lasting more than 200 years could finally be proven real. And this reveals one of the most interesting parts of the Oak Island story. The fact that Rick and Marty Lagina are chasing the same goal, but are motivated by very different reasons. Rick has never been driven by money or headlines. His connection with Oak Island started when he was a child and discovered a magazine article about the island's mysterious history. That story stayed with him for decades. He spent years studying the legend, researching the clues, and imagining what secrets might still be hidden below the surface. Over time, that curiosity became a lifelong commitment. Rick decided he needed to see the island for himself and dedicate his efforts to uncovering the truth. For him, every excavation is about much more than finding treasure. It represents the chance to complete a mystery that has remained unsolved for generations. When he looks at the newly discovered chamber-like anomaly, the excitement he feels comes from something deeper than simple hope. It represents decades of waiting for a moment like this. Marty Lagina, while just as dedicated to the search, sees the project through a very different perspective. His approach is based on practical decisions and careful evaluation. Every operation must be considered in terms of cost, risk, and possible results. After more than $300 million invested into the search, Marty understands the serious financial impact of every new drilling operation, excavation attempt, and experiment. To him, Oak Island is not only a historical mystery, it is also a complex engineering challenge. So when the possibility of a chamber worth over $220 million appears, Rick sees evidence that the legend may finally be true. Marty, however, immediately begins considering the difficult realities. If the chamber exists, how can it be reached safely? What happens if underground flooding returns? How much more time, money, and effort will be needed to complete the excavation? These different viewpoints sometimes create challenges between the brothers, but they are also the reason their partnership works so well. Rick brings passion, determination, and an endless desire for answers. Marty provides balance through careful planning, financial awareness, and logical decision-making. Together, these two different approaches have kept the Oak Island search alive far longer than most people ever expected. Perhaps that is the true meaning behind the Oak Island story. The greatest discovery may not only be the treasure itself, but the balance between passion and practicality. If Rick were making every decision alone, the team might take risks that are too dangerous. But if Marty were the only one leading the search, the journey may never have reached this point. It is this balance between belief and caution that has kept the Oak Island expedition moving forward. But the island may hold more than just hidden treasure. Deep beneath the surface, serious dangers remain. The moment the scans revealed the possibility of a $220 million chamber, excitement quickly spread through the team. But along with that excitement came a sense of concern. The newly discovered anomaly is located between 95 and 110 feet below the ground, a depth that is connected to some of Oak Island's oldest and most mysterious legends.